So God noticed the actions of the rich man who refused to notice the poor man at his gate. Luke tells us the rich man died and was buried. In Hades, where he was in torment, the rich man looked up and saw Abraham far away with Lazarus by his side. So he called to him, "Father Abraham, have pity on me and send Lazarus to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, because I am in agony in this fire." But Abraham replied, "Son, remember that in your lifetime you received your good things, while Lazarus received bad things. But now he is comforted here, and you are in agony." Why do you suppose the rich man was in Hades? It was because God noticed him. But why did God deal with him so harshly? There's no record of a vicious, glaring sin here. No record of a vulgar public sin. He wasn't cruel, as far as we know. He never ordered Lazarus away from his gate or refused Lazarus those crumbs that fell from his table. He wasn't some kind of a bully. He wasn't an oppressor of the poor, not a monstrous member of society. Rather, he may well have been a socially responsible, upright citizen, respected and well-liked. No earthly court would ever think of arresting or condemning him. In society's eyes, he was honored and even highly esteemed. People liked him. They spoke well of him. What then was his sin? I think that it was the sin of not noticing. How often do you and I take time to notice the people around us, their needs, their concerns? Not just the homeless people asking for handouts on a city street, but the lonely teenager who lives down the street, or the young mother trying to keep her family together after her husband has walked away from them all. How often do we notice the aging person that no one goes to see? The jobless guy who's being left behind by a culture that doesn't care anymore about his talents? How often do we notice the person sitting just a short distance from us in the congregation who has just received a crushing report from the doctor? How often do we even notice what other people around us are going through? It is a sin that afflicts all of us, I think, to one degree or another. And yet we rarely talk about it. It is the sin of self-absorption. It is the sin of being so preoccupied with our own cares, our own concerns, that we give no thought to the problems of those around us. I was in California for part of the week last week, and on Wednesday, September 14th, I read an interesting article in the LA Times. Title of this little article, and let's see, I think it's in the business section. Anyway, yeah, it is. The title of it is, "Poverty Rate Rises Again. Inequality Index is Widest Ever." This is toward the end of this article, and the information here is fascinating, and it's put in a way that I've never quite heard it put before. Listen to this. There was a clear divergence between the wealthy and the poor. Median incomes at the 90th percentile, meaning if you look at the people in the top 10% of incomes, the median rose to $211,956 in 2021, while incomes for those among the bottom 10th, meaning the 10% making the least amount of money, the median there fell to $15,660. In 2020, the income percentile limit for the lowest tenth was $16,400. The so-called Gini index, a measure of income inequality, rose to 0.494, indicating the widest disparity between the haves and the have-nots ever recorded. This is really the point of the message today. There was a time spiritually when each of us was a beggar, lying at the gate, totally helpless. And Jesus noticed us, and Jesus loved us just as we are. As we remember that truth, that compassion, that grace, Jesus calls us to look around and to see someone who needs our attention, our compassion, our love, the kind of grace that can only come from Jesus himself. What the research shows is that this person might just remember our generous attention when he or she is in the position to help someone else. And so that original act of kindness and love is extended perhaps forever. But you can't be part of this claim of love if you never take the time to look beyond your own cares and your own concerns. Don't be like the rich man, who will forever be remembered as the person who refused to notice. Look around you today to someone who needs your love. Amen. I'll tell you